Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. Just to review quickly, the next few days, there will be no activity from here. I'm having that surgery tomorrow morning. It's nominal, it's not a big deal, but it will keep me out of commission for at least 4 or 5 days. So there won't be any, there will be an open forum on, there will be no Saturday class, but there will be an open forum on Sunday that you might want to attend. It's an open forum on your experience of being part of Ramakrishna Holy Mother Vivekananda Vedanta as part of this congregation. I won't lead that. It will be led by the president of our board of trustees, Shailesh Pawar. But you will all have an opportunity to share what other people have experienced as part of this congregation. And some have been members for a long time, Shailesh among them. And what they feel that they've gained from studying the art of spirituality together as we do. There won't be a Monday reading and discussion group. There may be a Tuesday class. A bulletin will be sent about that. So tonight we are studying Swami Vivekananda's Jnana Yoga, his talk, The Atman, Bondage and Freedom. Before we begin, is there anything, so to speak, left over from our previous sessions that you would like to comment on or raise a concern about or ask a question? Anything at all? Because the Swami has been saying some very startling things. All right. We'll start back just a few sentences from where we left off last time with this statement: every being will become free sooner or later. No one can be lost. Every being will become free sooner or later. No one can be lost. Nothing can come to destruction. Everything must come up. Nothing can come to destruction. Everything must come up. If that is so, what is the use of our struggling? In the first place, the struggle is the only means that will bring us to the center. And in the second place, we do not know why we struggle. We have to. What does he mean we have to? Sooner or later, we come to the awareness that we are apparently bound. we understand, we come to the understanding that happiness in the world, in the realm of time, space, and causation, seeking happiness and freedom there is futile, absolutely futile. So then we begin to chafe. Now, the first thing that most beings do when they begin this discovery happens is they self-medicate. They run to excess in some sense. Alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever it is. They self-medicate. Overeating, they'll try to soothe their ache, their pain, their sense of something is wrong by self-medication. That clearly is also futile. So then they emerge from that. And one of the most beautiful examples of that emergence in the modern world is the 12-step programs, Alcoholics Anonymous, and so on. The most beautiful example of applied spirituality. The big book of AA is really an inspired scripture. So why do we struggle? We come to the point where we have to. There is no other resource left to us. And how many will struggle at any given time? This is a quote from the Gita. Of thousands of men, some are awakened to the idea that they will become free. This is a quote from Sri Krishna. Of thousands of men, some are awakened to the idea that they will become free. The vast masses of mankind are content with material things, but there are some and want to get back who have had enough of this playing down here. I'm going to read that again.
Brother Shankara,
Yes.
we're losing you in between. Suddenly it's stopping and starting. There is some glitch.
Let me see something here.
Yeah. Only just started, just 1 minute ago. It was fine in the beginning.
Okay, that should be better. Is it still happening?
Okay. I think we're able to hear you. Let's see.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, it says your band, Brother Shankara, it says your bandwidth is low. We're getting a message on the screen. Brother Shankara's network bandwidth is low. That's why it's losing and getting back, losing and getting back. I don't know how it can be adjusted.
Well,
Cindy probably. We lost you completely, Brother Shankara. We see the still picture. Dennis, you have any ideas? You could help him. Help Brother Shankara. Cindy is the expert in this.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to help with bandwidth issues from Tennessee.
Yeah, maybe he can start all over, restart the computer, and that might rebooting may help. We don't know. I don't know whether he can hear us, and I'm not sure.
He has rebooted in the past when this has happened, so hopefully.
Yeah, maybe rebooting might help. We completely lost him. Yeah. Oh, Brother Shankara is the host now. He needs to be the, yeah, okay.
All right, now I'm unmuted and everything.
Yes, I think we can hear you.
I don't know what happened. All
Yeah.
I can tell you is it's a full moon and
Okay.
strange things happen.
Yes, we hear you now better. We're back to normal almost.
Okay, of thousands of men, some are awakened to the idea that they will become free. And of course, that means men and women as well. And look at the number, the few that are with us this evening. This is what happens. Of thousands, some are awakened to the idea that they will become free. Here we sit, those who have awakened to that idea. The vast masses of mankind are content with material things, but there are some who awake and want to get back, who have had enough of this playing down here. Being, creating, doing, sharing, the joys of these is why we're here. When you are truly tired of this, when you're truly tired of this, just sign off and head for home. That's a little poem about this, wanting to get back. You've had enough of this playing down here. These, and here we are this evening among those included in Swamiji's these struggle consciously, while the rest do it unconsciously. That's what I mean when I say, so many people, when they begin to awaken and begin to feel that ache of bondage and so on, and sense the futility of trying to find happiness and freedom, they self-medicate. And so those are those who are struggling unconsciously. The alpha and omega, in other words, the beginning and the end of omega, the alpha and omega of Vedanta philosophy is to give up the world, giving up the unreal, and taking the real. Those who are enamored of the world may ask, why should we attempt to get out of it, to go back to the center? Suppose we have all come from God. Suppose we have all come from God, but we find this world is pleasurable and nice. Then why should we not rather try to get more and more of the world? Why should we try to get out of it? They say. They say, look at the wonderful improvements going on in the world every day. How much luxury is being manufactured for it. This is very enjoyable. Why should we go away and strive for something which is not this? The answer is that the world is certain to be, certain to die. The answer is that the world is certain to die, to be broken into pieces, and that many times we have had the same enjoyments. All the forms which we are seeing now have been manifested again and again, and the world in which we live has been here many times before. I have been here and talked to you many times before. you will know that it must be so. And the very words that you have been listening to now, you have heard many times before. Now, I'm saying that I mentioned earlier, the Swami is saying some very startling things. Are there any questions or concerns about this?
Yes, Brother Shankara. So when he says that I have been here and talked to you many times before, does he mean with the same form and or in a different form but with the same message or something?
The understanding is that during the day of Brahma, there are many kalpas. The kalpas repeat themselves. In other words, the golden age that we are said to be entering into will be, if not a perfect mirror, a very nearly perfect mirror of the last golden age, the last Satyug. And the end of it will be the same, and then there will be a silver age, then there will be a bronze age, then there will be an iron age. We're at the end of the iron age. Swami Vivekananda is telling us that because the materials are the same and the laws of time, space, and causation are the same, that each of these kalpas within this day of Brahma, each yuga repeats itself. So, though I have no personal knowledge of this at all, Swayam, this is the understanding that I have heard from the Swamis and that we're hearing now from Swami Vivekananda. It will be a virtually perfect repetition of the last time. But at some point, then, we escape from this time, space, and causation. We become free. And so we no longer participate in these repetitions. Is that clarity enough?
For now it is.
Okay.
I'll think about it. And
Yes, well, we all have to think about it. But I said the Swami says some startling things. This is not a very usual idea, but it certainly explains the sense of deja vu. That's one of the reasons that this comes up when Swamis are asked about deja vu. They will tell you about this. Anything else from anyone? Good questions.
I do have a follow-up question.
Okay.
So, if it's going to be an exact repetition, then I don't know how to word my question, but like say for Swayam, I'm doing all these attempts to get to a higher level. If
Yes.
I don't get liberated, then next yuga I will be again born at the same sort of same Swayam, same qualities, same, and start again, all over again.
The short answer has to be yes. The long answer is that you, because of who you are now and what you are doing now, do not despair of liberation. You have done the necessary according to the Swamis of the Ramakrishna order and Ramakrishna himself. You have taken refuge. that refuge will free you. There will be no more human birth. So you won't repeat this again. That's the longer answer.
Thank you.
So don't think in terms of I won't be liberated. Swami Prabhavananda said, think in terms of I will be liberated. Live in expectation. That's his fourth instruction for meditation. Having understood that the chosen ideal is you yourself, no different, having learned to feel that living presence, that's his first instruction for meditation. Having been patient and perseverant, then you can live in the expectation that you will achieve the results. So don't think in terms of, I won't be liberated. Think in terms of, I will be liberated. Thank you, Swam. That was a good follow-up question. Anything else from anyone? Any other questions or concerns? I think we've all had the feeling, we've all had that deja vu experience. The words that you have been listening to now, you have heard many times before, and many times more, it will be the same for those who are not freed. Souls were never different. The bodies have been constantly dissolving and returning or recurring. The bodies have been constantly dissolving and recurring. Secondly, these things periodically occur. Suppose there are 3 or 4 dice, and when we throw them, one comes up 5, the other 4, another 3, and another 2. If you keep on throwing, there must come times when those very same numbers will recur. Go on throwing, and no matter how long may be the interval, those numbers must come again. It cannot be asserted in how many throws they will come again. This is the law of chance. So with souls and their associations. However distant may be the periods, the same combinations and dissolutions will happen again and again. The same birth, eating and drinking, and then death come round again and again. Some never find anything higher than the enjoyments of this world, but those who want to soar higher find that these enjoyments are never final and only by the way. Now, when the Swami says, some never find anything higher, this seems to be a contradiction to where we started. And none will be lost. I think the Swami spoke a little carelessly here. It doesn't seem possible that Vivekananda would do it. But I don't think he meant to contradict himself, that some never find anything higher. Yes, all will be freed. They never find anything in this lifetime higher than the enjoyments of this world. But those who want to soar higher find these enjoyments are never final and only by the way. We need to understand too that these talks were transcribed by people taking shorthand. So there may have been something that the Swami said that was left out. I mean, the Swami never wrote these down. He spoke them extempore, and they were taken down by people in shorthand and then transcribed. Having said that, does that leave any concern or question or comment in anyone's mind?
My understanding is, Brother Shankara, some never find anything higher in this lifetime. Maybe in the future lifetimes they may find it after they purify their one after another, one after another.
That's
what probably.
That's my understanding also.
That's what my understanding is too.
But it is.
It will happen eventually.
You know, he says.
It may not.
It comes around again and again, and then he says some never find anything higher.
It may take a long time, several births.
Anything else from it?
We are losing you again.
It says it's unstable. I just got a message on the phone on the thing that says it's unstable. There's bound to be a reason for it. It has nothing to do with this equipment here. This equipment is the same as it's been. We're connected to the same modem. But Lord only knows what is causing this. If it gets too bad, we'll just stop. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Brother Shankara?
Yes, dear.
So the last stanza of the Song of the Sannyasin reassures again what he has said, that everybody will be freed. So if I may read it.
Please.
Thus, day by day, till karma's power spent, release the soul forever. No more is birth, nor I, nor thou, nor God, nor man. The I has all become. The all is I and bliss. Know thou art that. Sannyasin bold say Om Tat Sat Om.
For those of you who don't know the Song of the Sannyasin, it's a poem that Swami Vivekananda wrote after his second realization of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And from his point of view, all of us who follow this path are sannyasins. It's not just for the and Krishna says the same thing in the Gita. It's not just those who wear the ochre cloth. Anything else from anyone? Okay. Every form, let us say, beginning from the little worm and ending in man, is like one of the cars of the Chicago Ferris wheel. Now, that was very well known in his days. It was a huge Ferris wheel. If we know the term Ferris wheel, we know that there are, we've seen them at circuses and carnivals and so on. Well, at the Chicago World's Fair in 1893, there was a huge one. I mean, truly, it was probably one of the biggest things of its kind ever built at that time. So he's saying every form, let us say, beginning from the little worm and ending in man, is like one of the cars of the Chicago Ferris wheel, which is in motion all the time, but the occupants change. Atman goes into a car, moves with the wheel, and comes out. The wheel goes on and on. A soul enters one form, resides in it for a time, then leaves it and goes into another, and quits that again for a third. This is the round. Thus the round goes on and on, until it comes out of the wheel and becomes free. So is that metaphor clear to everyone? We take this form and that form and this form and that form. And as Swayam just said, until karma's power is spent or dissolved, which is what yoga is, the dissolution of the power of karma.
Correct me if I'm again misunderstanding this, but this looks again like contradicting what he said before, that I have been here and talked to you many times before. So if the form keeps changing, how then could the same form repeat itself?
How can I possibly answer that question, dear? This is one of the things that Sri Ramakrishna says. Come to the neighborhood of God, and all of these things will resolve themselves. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Swamiji says what he says, that, and think of the metaphor of throwing the dice, the 4 dice. One comes up 6, one comes up 5, one comes up 4, one comes up 3, or however he said it. Sometime or another, the same form will arise again in the presence of all this other forms. That's what he seems to be saying. That's the best I can do, Swayam. I suggest you address that question to Swami Chetanananda or Swami Sarvapriyananda. Poke those honeycombs and see what you find. But I suspect they'll tell you pretty much what I've just told you. That, these things are beyond our comprehension.
I think the dice metaphor does help me understand that.
Okay, very good. Astonishing powers of reading the past and the future of a man's life have been known in every country and every age. I'll repeat that, and it's true. Astonishing powers of reading the past and the future of a man's life have been known in every country and every age. The explanation, and if you want to know what he means by that statement, read his talk, Swami Vivekananda's talk. It's in the Complete Works, The Powers of the Mind. He expands on this particular thought. The explanation is that so long as the Atman is within the realm of causation, though its inherent freedom is not entirely lost and can assert itself even to the extent of taking the soul out of the causal chain, as it does in the case of men who become free, its actions are greatly influenced by the causal law, and thus make it possible for men possessed with the insight to trace the sequence of effects to tell the past and the future. So that's described in the talk, The Powers of the Mind, and it's also described in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras in chapter 3, which is titled The Powers. How to do it is described there. Patanjali says just exactly what the Swami says. It's possible for human beings possessed with the insight to trace the sequence of effects to tell the past and the future. So long as there is desire or want, it is a sure sign that there is imperfection. Now, does anyone have anything to say about that? That's a complete equation right there. So long as there is desire or want, it is a sure sign that there is imperfection. So to read it as an equation, desire or want equals imperfection. Is there any comment or concern or question that wants to be raised?
My understanding, Brother Shankara, that means there is no liberation. When you have a desire, then we are not liberating ourselves. We're not moving towards liberation. That's what I'm understanding as there is imperfection.
As long as there is desire or want, there is imperfection. As long as there is imperfection, there will not be freedom.
Exactly. No liberation. Thank you.
So he's answering that question that he asked before. Why should we want to leave this world? Why should we want to sign off and head for home, as that little poem says? Why should we? Because as long as we remain in the realm of desire and want, as long as we want the joys of being, creating, doing, and sharing in their myriad forms, then we're not going to do what's necessary to head for home. So that's the syllogism. Desire or want equals imperfection. Imperfection equals the impossibility of liberation. Now, does that mean you have to be perfect in this moment? No. It means that you are struggling. And if you read carefully chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, you will see that Krishna says, just struggle with sincerity and perseverance. I will get behind it and make it happen. I will make sure that you get what you want. If it's liberation, then liberation it shall be. Any thoughts from anyone about this? I mean, we're out at the very a perfect free being cannot have any desire. A perfect free being cannot have any desire. God cannot want anything. Your true nature, your true original nature, is that Atman, God. It is a perfect free being and always has been, always will be, and it cannot have any desire. God, or Atman, cannot want anything. If he desires, he cannot be God. He will be imperfect. So all the talk about God desiring this and that and becoming angry and pleased by turns is baby's talk. all that you have heard, everything you've ever heard about what God, never mind, I can't remember the poem right. But it's a poem that says this same thing. The end of the poem says, all she really wants, all she really cares about is the bright glint in your eye and to hear you say, in your own way, my dearest dear. Which is not wanting anything. It's just relationship. So all this talk about God desiring this and that and becoming angry and pleased by turns is baby's talk. It means nothing. Now, those of you who've been raised in the Christian tradition, this is bound to get in your face to someone. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, this is not what we are taught about God. It's what Jesus teaches about God, but it's not what the Judeo-Christian tradition in the churches that have arisen teach about God. So the Swami goes on, therefore it has been taught by all teachers, desire nothing, give up all desires, and be perfectly satisfied. Which is what Jesus meant when he said, be ye perfect, as my Father in heaven is perfect. And by the saying, don't store up anything here where rust will corrode and moths will eat. Find your treasure where that can't happen. Is there anything from anyone before we go on? A child comes into the world crawling and without teeth, and the old man goes out without teeth and crawling. The extremes are alike, but the one has no experience of the life before him, while the other has gone through it all. When the vibrations of ether are very low, we do not see light. So the Swami has changed gears here in mid-sentence. When the vibrations of ether are very low, we do not see light. It is darkness. When very high, the result is also darkness. The extremes may generally appear to be the same, though one is as distant from the other as the poles, that is, North Pole, South Pole. Now, he's telling an absolute physical truth here. When vibration, as we know, there is this spectrum of vibration, electromagnetic vibration. When it's very low, it does not create light. We don't see light. As a matter of fact, physicists have been very puzzled by these phenomena, and particularly ultraviolet and red. Much energy is required to create those phenomena. So, no light when vibration is very low, no light when it is very, very high. various kinds of light in between. The range of our visible light detectable by the eye, is really rather narrow. I've forgotten the numbers for it. Does anyone remember the numbers for the vibration that we register as light in our eye? Okay. So when the vibration is low, no light. The vibration is high, no light. The extremes generally appear to be the same, though one is as distant from the other as the poles. The wall has no desires, so neither has the perfect man. But the wall is not sentient enough to desire, while for the perfect man there is nothing to desire. There are idiots who have no desire in this world because their brain is imperfect. At the same time, the highest state is when we have no desire, but the two are opposite poles of the same existence. One is near the animal, and the other is near to God. And that's the end of that talk. So we have some time left, a few minutes. What does the clock say? 8:48. So let's discuss what the Swami has said. What does it mean to you? Let me just ask the question. You can answer it or not as you wish. What does it mean to you to struggle? What is it in your life that represents itself as this struggle? All right, I'll start. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else want to go?
I was going to say it is the constant struggle between going after what we find likable and running away from what we don't like.
Yes, that is definitely a part of the struggle. And how does that work for you, Swam? How does that actually play out in your life?
Causes stress and in a way has propelled me to take the spiritual path.
Say the last again, please.
It has propelled me to become serious about spiritual path.
Yes. Good. Anybody else? All right, let me just say this from this perspective. The struggle from here is to do this. To be able to successfully hold two thoughts at the same time and make progress in both of them. The one is the fact that though I am told again and again, and though I have had experiences that lead me to believe that this is not true, I still experience time, space, and causation, and I need to succeed within it. I have things to do that represent success within that time, space, and causation. I mean the duties that I have as the resident minister here. All right, that's one frame of reference. And there's thinking, speaking, and acting that are all within that frame of reference. Then there is the other frame of reference, which we have just been hearing from the Swami. The truth of this being, this one sitting right here, is not the jiva, not that breathing thing that is talking with you, but the Atman. The definition for success in being the Atman is to be totally without any desire for any success of any kind. Simply being the witness of everything that goes on before it. Now, what kind of success is that? How do you experience it? How do you know, other than being in that witness seat? So that's how it is for me. That's the big struggle for me, to be both of those things, to hold both of those frames of reference in awareness at once, and not let either one of them slip away into carelessness.
I want to make a comment, Brother Shankara.
Please, Haima.
To me, do everything as I'm supposed to do my worldly duties regularly, but not expecting any return, the result. Don't even think about the result. That's my stand. And calmly accept any opposition that comes at me. Calmly accept it. That makes me give up the desire. There's no desire in that. If I can calmly accept whatever comes at me, any opposition, then I'm working toward desireless state. That's what my practice is. My meditation has been taking me to that path. That's what I've been aiming for, and which I have been slowly getting there. So,
beautiful.
like, for example, today I set it up for 2 birthday parties, my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter, everything ready. All of a sudden, snow started coming out. My son in LA had to cancel the flight this evening because there's no flights coming here. My other son, he couldn't come here. I had to stall everything. Everybody called and sent me messages. I said, that's okay. We'll do it another day. No problem. So I had to just calmly let it go, stop everything what I was doing. I just had everything ready on the table, but I just had to put it back in the refrigerator and just calmly accept it. It's one simple example, but there are bigger ones, bigger challenges in life. This is just a simple one.
Yes, well, thank you for being straightforward about all of that. And all of us, our hearts go out to you, I'm sure, for going to all that effort and having it come to what it came to.
Yes, that they said they will all come Friday when the snow stops and everything gets back to normal in Denver. So we are having 8 inches of snow now. It's falling outside. So we just cannot go on unless the snow stops and then the roads are clean. They cannot travel. So
of course,
that's what happens. It's things like this happen sometimes. That's life.
Absolutely.
That is life. So that's what I'm working towards, to take every opposition. Or this is not really an opposition, it's a kind of, but there are bigger ones.
Yeah.
Bigger ones in life, horrible ones in life. Yeah. So we just have to take them calmly so that there's no desire, there's no unhappiness, zero expectation, zero dissatisfaction. That's my philosophy.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anything else from anyone?
Brother Shankara,
Yes, please.
I think for struggle, it is taking the spiritual realizations that I've had throughout my life. And when I say making them manifest, I know I'm not doing it, but knowing it so well and living it so well that it actually becomes my new truth, from error, from lower truth to the next higher truth.
Yes.
And I'm watching that throughout my life as kind of the arc of an overall struggle of each thing that I learn, each realization that I have on the spiritual path, and then learning it again and again and again until I
Yes. Isn't it the truth?
until, if you will, I make it my own, or I believe it, or whatever word you want to say, that it
Yes.
assimilates into me organically. And then I actually don't know it anymore. I actually start living it as if I am it. So that is, I don't know, that's a lot, but that's kind of what came to me when I think of the spiritual struggle.
Thank you, Dennis. Very nicely said and very straightforwardly and honestly said. Yes, indeed. And when you said having to learn it again and again and again, ain't it the way? Thank you. Anyone else? Anything at all? All right. I think we'll just wrap it up there. It's 8:58. Close enough for government work. Oh, beloved, a flower at your feet for each one who comes to your open door. A flower at your feet for each one who stands by your open door and says, "Come to me, come to me," offering to break this world's chain that binds us down to ignorance, suffering, and death. A flower at your feet for each one who takes the path that you have struck through this, your jungle world. Om Amen. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all beings everywhere. Jai, 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 Jai Ma. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga, Durga, Durga. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be cheerful. May we have peace of mind. May we go forward in the loving and protective embrace of the Divine Being as our mother and father. Any final thoughts or questions from anyone? All right, dears. As I said at the beginning, there won't be any activity from here on Zoom until the earliest will be next Tuesday. There will be a Sunday talk, a Sunday gathering. It won't be led from here. It will be led by the president of our board of trustees, Shailesh Pawar. It will occur at 11 o'clock as usual, and it will be an open forum on your experience of being part of this congregation and studying Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Vivekananda, Vedanta. What this is for you and has done for you. Shailesh will lead the discussion and will start the discussion by telling his own version of what I just said. Shailesh has been a member of this congregation for a long time. So the next possibility for a class being facilitated from here, from this chair, is next Tuesday. But we'll see about that. It just depends on how I feel after the operation that I'll have tomorrow. So any final thoughts from anyone? Anything to say at all?
Continue our prayers for your successful surgery, Brother Shankara.
Thank you, dear.
Same here. You are in my thoughts, brother.
Okay. Well, good night, everyone. Until the next time we see one another, which, we'll all see one another on Sunday if you decide to come, and I hope you do. It should be quite a good discussion. And Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.